Welcome back to Dooley's Dog Pod. I'm Donna Trailer.
I am No Bice.
And this is a podcast where we talk about everything that happens on Dooley Field in Sanford Stadium with your Georgia Bulldogs. And this time we are actually going to be doing that because guess what? We have another home game for the first time in 3 weeks. And yeah, we're going to be playing Auburn here at home. Oldest rivalry in the Deep South or whatever.
The Deep South's oldest rivalry.
Yeah. And so we're very excited because boy, do we need
A win.
a win. Let's start there.
We lost. Yeah, we lost. But, all right, there's so much to say, and I wish this feels like a day that I should be like CBS level, like what is going on? Oh my God. But I'm not, because that game was cinema. It was so much fun to watch. As sad as the ending was for me as a Georgia fan, in the moment, I was like, oh my God, this is what makes sports so much fun. Because it was like the worst of times, it was the best of times, and it was back to the worst of times. And yeah, like seeing us catch that, touchdown to put us up and literally shooting off the couch and going, oh my God, and like hugging my friends that I was watching it with and just jumping up and down and screaming. Yeah, it was electric. Obviously, did not end the way I wanted it to, but things happen. We got a tough schedule. I'd argue we have like one of the toughest out of every college team this year. So, is what it is. I have some thoughts. Donna will probably battle me on my thoughts. I'll battle her on her thoughts, but that's all I got for my little mini intro there.
Your opening statement?
Yeah, my opening statement. When do I get my rebuttal?
I don't. Yeah, so, I already have a slight disagreement with you because I do not think that this game was fun to watch. Like, I think I can definitely respect it was cinematic. It was arguably probably one of the greatest football games ever. Like, it was crazy. But it wasn't fun. Not for me. I was emotionally distraught.
Were you crying?
Did
you cry during the game?
I did not cry.
Okay.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised I didn't cry. I don't know why I didn't cry. Probably because after a minute, it was just blow after blow after blow from Alabama. And it was like I disassociated.
Yeah.
Like, and so I wasn't crying because I was like, this literally isn't real. Like, I just wasn't. And so, it was tough to say the least. And one of my only notes, I have 3 notes. Chris, why throw, and Carson, wake up. All those I'll explain. Getting to Chris, I turned the game off. Fun fact. Yeah.
There's no way.
I did. And Chris found out that I turned the game off, and it's become a whole thing. Like, this man has attacked me every day since the game because I turned the game off.
Good.
Mind you, he just heard I turned it off and I guess he assumed that I just left it off, never watched it, never figured out what was going on. I turned the game off for like maybe a collective 5 minutes.
Why?
So I could take a breather and not cry. And guess what? I did it. Disassociated, got it back together. I was like, you know what, Donna? Your literal mental health does not have to be connected to the productivity of Georgia football.
Is that going to rustle?
I don't think so.
Where it is?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just checking.
And so I was like, it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Turn the game back on. I think in the span of time that I turned the game off, like, Carson threw another interception. I'm not even kidding. That's all I missed. Turn the game back on, and I'm locked back in. I just needed a minute. And Chris is like, and I'm like, dude, I needed a second, okay? And so, anywho, at that point, it was already 28-0. I turned it on 28-7, or 30-7. I can't remember when exactly we scored the
Something
touchdown.
Like that. I think we were down 28-0. And then that's when maybe we went to 31.
No, 30 because it was a safety. So then it was 30, and then...
No. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so, anyway, I saw literally all of that. But, like, anywho, yeah, it was a lot. But, I mean, halftime happened. And it was literally like watching two separate games. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's, it was like first game ended at halftime, second game started. And it was like, all right, brand new team.
I mean, so much of the first half was like, let's cut you off before you get to all your points. So much of the first half was like, oh my God, Carson Beck sucks. He's so bad.
I'm crying.
And it's like, you know, I never thought Carson Beck was like insanely good. I think from his spring game, like when I initially watched him after Stetson left, I was a little worried. And obviously he's played games and had a season where he's shown that he's a good quarterback. But I've never seen him so rattled to where it was like every throw he made was to another player that was not wearing our colors of like
our
red.
Version of red.
Yeah, our red. Every ball he threw was to someone in crimson. And it was like he threw 3 interceptions and he probably deserved to throw 7 on the day.
I'm crying.
Like, and that's, I wish I was exaggerating because I do it so much and I silly goofy haha. Literally, we should have been beaten by so much more just off the fact that he could not throw the ball to the right team. His reads like just fell apart. He couldn't make a simple pass. Like he outthrew Dylan Bell on like an in route in the center of the field for a first down, and it was an easy pass that he makes 100 times. He had done his interceptions or whatever, and he was kind of like snowballing at this point, and he outthrows him. And it's like, at what point do they bring Gunner in? And I think that was a question that a lot of people were asking at one point. Is like, how many more drives can Carson Beck throw away before they put Gunner Stockton in?
Yeah, well, so there's that thing that Kirby says where it's never as good as it seems, it's never as bad as it seems. And it's like after the fact, when I'm able to compartmentalize and it's not in the moment. 2 of those interceptions, really one, but arguably a second, are not his fault. So
I would say the ending one was not his, like he just had to throw it up.
So that's the second. That's the one that I would count as the second one.
Okay.
Where he was
Which
aiming,
I don't think he had to.
He definitely didn't have to. But the goal there was to almost loft the ball into the corner and hope that our wide receiver, who is 8 inches taller than their defensive back, can out-jump him and catch the ball. However, the ball was slightly underthrown. Right?
And there were a lot of balls that he threw that were underthrown.
Yes. And so, yes, obviously, you'd rather him have a perfect throw in that point, and it ends up being, obviously, that we catch it. But, like, technically, I still would say, like, that's a 50-50 type situation where we could have caught it, they could have caught it. It was 50-50. I can't necessarily say it's his fault.
I just don't agree with that decision.
One that's, like, could be his fault. I don't agree. I don't think we should have been.
Because the other thing is he throws that ball after he threw the same exact pass, like, at least one time before, maybe 2 times.
Yes.
It's like, how many times are you, like, how many chances are you going to give this DB to make a play?
So my second point, my first was Chris, my second is why throw? It's about this.
Yeah.
I was like, literally, Alabama has already proven to us in this game. It's not like we just have to go back and like look at stuff that they've done in the past. They've proven to us 2 minutes ago that they only need one play to score, right? Yes, that play is a fluke and a freak show of athleticism in and of itself. There's all the things about it. But they showed they only need one play in order to beat us in this game. Or not necessarily beat us, but get back on top. And so my thing is, there was still like 45 seconds left in the game when we throw that ball. Yeah. Something like that. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Oh, no. On the last play or the touchdown?
On our last play.
Yeah. There was a ton of time.
Exactly. And so I'm like, we got 30 yards to work with.
I think it was third down.
The ball.
It was either 3rd or 4th down. It was a late.
It was first down.
Did they throw that ball?
I'm pretty sure.
No.
Maybe not. But anywho, that's my whole point. Was like, I wish that we would have just run the ball in that situation because, again, given the way that the game had gone in that, like, it seemed like everything seemed like it was 50-50 and that they could catch it. And there were so many times where they could have and they didn't. And there were so many times where they did catch the ball. It was like...
It was first down.
That's what I'm saying. It was first down.
Touchback.
Why in the world are we throwing the ball there?
That's insane.
We have so much time left. If let's say, for example, that Colby does catch the ball there.
Yeah.
Now you give the ball back to Alabama with over 30 seconds left in the game. They throw the ball 2 times, one of them to Ryan Williams, and they score, and we did all of that, and we still lose. Like, I just wish we didn't throw the ball. We did. It is what it is. What happened, happened. I just wish we didn't throw the ball. Going back to my original point, the interception that I definitely am like, this was not Carson's fault, is the one that should have gone to Oscar Delp. Like, that was who his target was. I think that Oscar ran the wrong route. He was supposed to be doing a route where he blocks and turns and catches the ball and it's already on his face mask.
Yes.
But instead, he never...
It was so loud, I don't think he could hear him. And I don't think it was Oscar who was supposed to catch it. I thought it was Arian Smith who was supposed to... Because I think Oscar in that play goes out to block Arian's man. Arian comes in behind him and catches it and then goes up through the center on a screen. And Arian full on just took off down the field.
I think it was Oscar who was supposed to catch it.
I think it was Arian. Either way, yes, I do remember that play, and I don't think that was his fault. But it is the part of the game where it was so loud he could not hear the audible because that was not the play they called to come out. I
think it was.
No, there's absolutely no way. I fully disagree with you 100%.
Why I think it was.
Why?
Because I've been told by people on the sideline who could hear what was going on that that's what the play was.
There's no way. Then why did Arian run? That would make more sense.
That was the whole point.
That would make more sense for him to block.
No, he was running to take a defender with him.
They didn't go.
Well, they wouldn't have needed to. It wouldn't have mattered if they win or not.
All right, so Mike Bobo's fault.
Mike Bobo's fault.
Bad play call.
Oscar didn't run the right route.
So even if he ran that route, he gets tackled there. And it was what, third down when that happened?
Oscar catches that ball. He only has to beat one guy.
2. Because Arian's man didn't follow him. Oscar was stuck on a block and there was another guy. The other guy's
He's got to beat the one guy in front of him. And then he can make a run. And then obviously Arian's guy's going to come towards him or whatever. But that was the idea there.
That's an awful call.
Awful call all you want. If Oscar would have ran the right route and turned around,
he would have got tackled by 2 guys when he caught the ball.
But he would have caught the ball. But he didn't run the right route. So
I would also argue that Oscar probably wouldn't have caught the ball. Lawson Lucky had a better game than Oscar did.
I mean, you could say that
potatoes,
about
potatoes.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, like that. I don't think you can put that one on Carson. But and then the loft in our last play of the game, I don't think you. I mean, that's a 50-50 on. So, like, whatever.
I get that, and that's fine, and whatever. 2 of these interceptions, I'll give them 1. The second one, to be honest, I'm saying you absolutely shouldn't throw that ball. You shouldn't pass there. Like you said, you have all this time. You made your point in that. Also, they threw that exact same pass to Colby 2 plays before, and, like, again, how many times can you give this corner a chance? Because if you keep giving them chances to turn around and make a play, eventually they're going to figure out how to make the play. You're letting them problem solve what's stopping them from getting the interception on the first time. So it shouldn't have been thrown. And then, last week we talked a lot about, man, I really wish we'd just throw the ball. We don't let it loose in the first half. And then we came out and threw the first 3 plays. And it is that's not what I mean when I say let it loose in the first half. For some reason, it's either run 3 plays in a row or pass 3 plays in a row. Mix it up. And it's that's so stupid to come out against a team that is so tough and so smash mouth to not establish some sort of run game. Because then we started running in the second half or second quarter. At this point, we're down, 21? And it's we got 7 yards on that run. That's a good run, but we're so far behind now that we're running out the clock that we desperately need to make these plays. And it's we're trying to establish the run once we're already too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that saying where you run the ball to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So you run it enough times that you can open up the field enough that you can throw. My thing is, I agree with that in the sense of why aren't we switching it up? Why are we, against an Alabama team just trying to establish just a, throwing game so early on? But my point there, as far as how we started the game, is yes, we threw the ball 3 times when we started. But the biggest takeaway to me was we had that one throw to Arian. Mm-hmm. That everything about it was perfect except for the fact that he didn't catch the ball. The route was perfect. The throw was perfect. It went straight through his hands.
Yes. Yeah,
and it's like we say, oh, well, that was your one chance. We're not going to throw to you until the second half of the game. It was our second play or something like that?
Yeah.
And I'm literally, it'd be one thing if the DB had great positioning and pass protected, or if Carson made a bad throw or X, Y, and Z. There's so many factors that could have been like, oh, this is why we don't go back to this.
Yeah.
But he simply didn't catch the ball the one time. I'm like, go back to him again. And it's like, yes, we threw the ball some more, but like when was the next time after that like Arian was a target? And I'm like, we wanted to start the game like that with like a big like deep shot to him. Send him to the other side of the field and do it over again. Like this time he catches the ball and we have a touchdown in the first 3 minutes of the game. Like imagine how different this game is if he catches that ball, right? And we open with a touchdown like that. But imagine even if he doesn't catch that, if we turn around and like try it again, like I don't know, 2-3 plays or downs later.
Yeah, well, the other thing, I think at that point as well, Carson Beck was just not playing well.
Not that was like the third play of the game.
Yes, and then the second time he got the ball, he was not playing well. And it's like it's like run, or either we come out, we pass, we run again, and then we end up throwing an interception on Carson's next pass. Something like that. Yeah, it's a punt on the first one. Arian messes up. Second time we get the ball, he throws an interception. And it's like at that point, it's like this slope downhill just begins. It starts to get greater and greater at a decline.
Yes, but my thing is we started neutral.
Yes.
And we never got good before we went bad. My thing is, if we throw the ball to Arian again, if he again, that was down like the right sideline, that we have that play to him, it goes straight through his hands. It's like, dang, like he didn't catch it. But everything about it was perfect. Mm-hmm. So try it one more time. Maybe if you have to flip the field, put him on the left side this time. Try it one more time. This time he catches that, we have positive momentum. We are not neutral anymore. We're going up instead of automatically going down. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I just wish that we would have
played really bad.
thrown. Who played really bad?
Just us in general.
I mean, well, yes, but like, what does that have to do with what I'm saying now?
I'm trying to make sure if this pass that's intercepted is not an actual, like, you know what? Actually, out of all this bad stuff, we need to bring up two players who played extremely well: Dan Jackson, Jalen Walker, and
Dan Jackson had the game of his life.
Respectfully, Dan Jackson was the heartbeat of that defense at some point. And it was just insane seeing him actually, like, put the team on his back in some capacity for a little bit. And then Jalen Walker again, late in the game, there's a pass to, guess who? Ryan Williams. And you can literally, on the angle that is on the sideline, you see Jalen Walker, like,
hawk him down from 20 yards behind.
Yeah, he's like coming up behind him, and it is like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball's cop running. Yeah. And then he runs right. Jalen Walker's out of frame. He gets slowed down, and out of nowhere, just boom, right across. But yeah, it was just absurd seeing that. So yeah, highlighting those players. I'm also buying myself a little time so I can see this interception that Carson Beck throws.
Which one?
The first one. Okay, first one is the pass to Oscar. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the play too much just because I'm not going to put it on screen.
That's who he's throwing to. He doesn't turn around like he's supposed to. Right here, he should be turning around. Jesus. Instead, it goes straight to this guy.
Yeah. Well, either way, still rough game on that. Anyway, that was the whole play we were just going over. Some other things I wanted to bring up. Yeah, Carson just got a slump. And it was hard to get out of it, and it was kind of sad.
But I mean, I think he did a good job eventually, like
coming
together.
Back,
like,
yeah, getting
like,
together. But
first half of the game was God, Carson just like, oh my God. Second half of the game, I would argue he had one of his best games ever. Obviously, not counting the last play.
Yeah, but it's like, at what point is that it doesn't matter because they're already up so much, and luckily our defense. What really changed is our defense started to play really well.
Yeah, we made some great defensive adjustments at the half.
That's for sure. Yeah, that was insane because. This is the one thing that I did really want to hit on. Jalen Milroe almost played a perfect game. His interception was not his fault.
He played the best game of his career and potentially of his life.
Yeah.
He might never play that good again.
And he should have probably thrown 100% that game. Maybe one pass was his fault, like didn't go to the receiver correctly or like was out of range or something. But most of what I remember is his receivers were dropping the ball when he was throwing to them, and that's where it made up for like his 3 to 5, something like that, incomplete passes. 6. He had 6 incomplete passes. One of them the interception that was tipped out of the receiver's hands. And then going back to Ryan Williams, generational talent as a 17-year-old to play that well and to be as shifty as he is. Generational talent. And it made me think, and don't get me wrong, Georgia has a ton of amazing players. But sometimes it's hard to look at our team and be like, do we have someone on our team right now who is generational, who is one of a kind? And I think we had that last year with Brock. And now looking at the team, it's like I don't know if we have someone who's filled his place on offense or defense of someone who's like absolutely generational, game changer. Like, is that guy almost 100% of the time?
Yeah, it's funny because like I can't remember who I had this same conversation with a couple days ago, but it's like over the last couple of years, like let's go back to our first like natty in 21, right? We had Jordan Davis on the team. We had Jalen Carter on the team.
Nakobe Dean.
We had Nakobe Dean on the team.
Kitty Ringo, Kamari Lassiter.
We had all these guys that were like names, that were like faces, that were like, you know, our identity. Mm-hmm. Jordan Davis was Georgia football.
Yeah.
And
Stetson Bennett.
Obviously, yeah, we had Stetson. I wouldn't necessarily name
Lightning
him
in
as
a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle. Generational, yeah. And so then it's like the next year, we have Malachi Starks joins the team.
Yeah.
We still have Jalen Carter. You know, we, as far as like having like that identity person, obviously we still had Stetson. The next year, Brock Bowers had been on the team these 2 years and was phenomenal, but like I feel like last year was his breakout year of like, I feel like that Florida catch that he had where he bobbles it around or whatever and ends up making that catch. And that was like one of those moments where it's like Brock freaking Bowers.
Yeah.
Right? We had that guy on the offensive side of the ball at least.
I don't know if I would say breakout year, but yeah, I get what you're saying in the sense of he was that guy.
Yeah, like there's nobody else to pay attention to.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Like obviously we had Ladd. Ladd was great too.
And I would almost put Ladd creeping into that
same
really
category.
insane talent that was not as highlighted because he was Ladd.
And then this year, we have Malachi Starks is still here.
Yeah. Here's my thing with Malachi Starks. I don't know how much better he's gotten. He came in, and, you know, I'm not a football genius. You know, I'm just a fan. I'm just someone who works around sports and sees it often. But from a fan's point of view, it seems like he came in, like, insanely good as a freshman, but it's kind of stayed at that level of quality. And maybe there's, like, some small adjustments of, like, oh, his footwork's better. He's better in these coverages. He's better making contact. From my point of view, he's remained the same level of talent and quality throughout.
Well, I mean, I don't think
I don't know if there was a year that he was, like, he has made a jump up and be like, oh, my goodness, he got so much better this year.
Well, see, I don't think you need to be so much better if you come in and you're already good. Like, he's already been, like, he has been our best DB for the last 3 years. Like,
I don't know about that.
Literally, who else could you possibly put?
Again, Kamari Lassiter.
I mean, okay, you have Kamari Lassiter, but now that he's gone this year, I mean, it's 100%.
Oh, this year. But, like, previous to this, in the last 3 years, no, he's not the best DB in the last 3 years.
Okay, so then you have Kamari. Second is Malachi.
Yeah, I don't know where I've thrown Javon.
Like, I don't think there's any...
And Keely Ringo's also on that list.
He's gone, though, at this point.
3 years?
This is his third year. This
Malachi,
is his second year.
Yeah, Malachi
So
has
first.
one ring, right? He won the second one. Malachi was on for that second ring season. Keely Ringo catches the pick 6 in the second ring.
No, he catches in the first, but yes.
Oh, yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Whatever. The point being, Malachi Starks, in my opinion, like, he comes in good, so it's not like you need to see, like, a jump in improvement for him because he's already good.
Yeah,
like,
but,
as far as productivity, I feel like he has been a reliable defensive back. Like, I feel like over the years, maybe he hasn't been the best DB. This year he is, but maybe the last couple of years he hasn't been. But if you look at who people are making plays on, it's not him.
It was him in Alabama.
This one game, yes, he had a bad game. A lot of people had a bad game.
I'm just saying people made plays on Malachi Starks.
Yes.
I need to see him
Your point
get
was
better.
he needs to get better. Like,
he does need to get better. If you're just as good as you were,
get better. He needs to play better.
Okay, as someone who is available to go
Please say that. Go ahead, make your point.
No.
Because I have a perfect rebuttal. Go ahead.
For someone has the opportunity to go to the league this year, he's in his third year. He should not be playing on the same level he was when he was 18.
No, but I'm not. That doesn't mean he needs to make some huge major adjustment. Like that's.
I'm not saying there's a major adjustment. I'm saying he needs to play better than he was when he was 18.
Yes, but you literally just said he needs to make some. I haven't seen any huge improvement.
I'm saying he's playing just as good as he was when he was 18.
I think he's definitely gotten better. It hasn't been some huge jump. And like you just said, us as like the average fans, the people who don't study football and aren't in rooms, are not going to notice the things that he's getting better at. But I don't think it's possible that he has not improved at all.
It just does not feel like I'm seeing Malachi Starks perform the way he has previously.
Okay. So I'm like, I can't make the argument that he's not performing the way he has previously. Mm-hmm. He had one bad game. We had 800 people in this game who had a bad game. Dan Jackson is like the only person who I can say didn't have a bad game. Literally. So I'm just like, I can't say that, he needs to do all these improvements. He just needs to play a little bit better. That's not necessarily like making any massive improvement. He just had a rough game. And again, like you're literally calling one of the people who had to cover a generational talent. That makes sense.
But I'm not saying that just off of one game. It's just like it feels like he's fallen into this like role player. I don't know.
I don't like
role play. I get role player role in a team where it's like yes he's good, he's back there, but it's like I don't know. It's just not like a force of like Malachi Starks is over there. Like how we were talking about players who are names, absolute names in their positions.
I think that he's a name.
Year. I don't know if he is as much as he used to be. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know how he could not be because. Again, he's had one bad game. Throw back to 3-4 weeks ago when we play Clemson and he makes that interception and it's like, oh my God, like we can't stop talking about how good he is. Now he has one bad game and you're like, I don't know, he needs to like make so many improvements.
I'm not sure I'm saying he needs to make so many improvements. I just feel like I haven't seen him get better than when he came in as a freshman.
I have. Like, I mean, like, again, to your point, we can't, like, just say, we're not going to pay attention to the areas where he's gotten better.
Yeah.
If this is 4 weeks ago when he makes that excellent interception, you have a completely different perspective. This is one game, and all of a sudden, like,
I get
3 weeks ago, you wouldn't be saying that. You know what I mean? Like, again,
I get your point.
One bad game. So.
But again, it's like that excellent interception is one he was making, and we compared it to the first week when we talked about it, that he made as a freshman.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, good consistently isn't a bad thing.
That's yes.
And so, too bad we couldn't be good consistently on Saturday because this game would have gone so different. Because, I mean, going back to something else you said, it's like, with how ridiculously we played in that first half, the fact that we took the lead at any point in the fourth quarter of this game is absolutely absurd. On top of that, the fact that, again, Carson should have had 3 or 4 more interceptions. And Jalen Moore played lights out, and we still were able to fight our way back into this game enough that we literally took the lead. Yes, now, rip. It was only for 13 seconds, but we had it. Which, going back, that is a whole point in and of itself, clock management. Because when we got the ball back with 3 minutes left in the game on our own 25 or something like that, I was like, oh my God, we have enough time. We had 3 timeouts at that point, mind you, as well. To just burn the clock down, burn the clock down, burn the clock down, burn the clock down, burn the clock down. What do? We score in like 2 or 3 plays, right? We give Alabama the ball back.
After the game we're having, I just don't know if I'm willing to complain about scoring quickly. Because it's like, I get it, you like clock management. The other half is like, we need to take the chance when we get it.
I mean, I get that, but then throw back to 10 minutes ago when we were talking about the fact that we had so much time left on that last play and we should have not been throwing the ball. Now, that's a different story because we were basically in the red zone at that point.
Yeah.
But, like I'm saying, again, it's Alabama. Why are we giving them so much time with the ball?
Yeah,
so we take the shot when we have it, and it works. We score. It's like, oh, my God, we have the lead. This was stupid on Alabama's part for them to score as fast as they did. Because they have proven throughout this game that if they need to score, they can score.
No, I will say when he caught that ball, I wanted him to score. I was like, Just score. Do not give them the chance to run the clock out and hit a field goal and give us no time.
Because literally,
like, just score and give us a lot of time to make something happen.
Exactly, because my point was, Alabama literally only needed a field goal to win the game after we scored as fast as we did. If they just go down the field, waste the clock, they don't even have to score a touchdown. They can just score a field goal and win the game. They score in one play and give the ball back to us. Nick Saban never, ever would have done that. I will also argue that had Nick Saban been the coach, we never would have got back in the game as much as we did, because there is a slight argument that Kalen kind of took his foot off the gas once they went up.
Yeah, there was very much a
I mean, we made great defensive adjustments.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if he took his foot off the gas, because there was a lot of we were just defensively breaking down, but also there was a sense in the first half. It's like we were going to run up the score as much as we can in this first half. Like, we're able to score pretty quickly. We are going to do it as fast as we can. We're going to do it as much as we can in the first half. So I don't know if I would argue that there was a foot off the gas. I think there was just
second half.
Yeah, in the second half, I'm not sure I'm going to say there was a foot off the gas. I'm going to say there was more of there was a rock in the middle of the road, and it's hard to get around, of where our defense just played a lot better. I'm not sure it's a foot off the gas thing, and as much as we're actually playing defense and Jalen Milroe can't do his first or second read on his route tree.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. I know our defense, we had a lot of great adjustments, but I do still argue that they weren't playing anywhere near as aggressive as they had been the first half, because to your point, they came out we're going to run the score up as fast as we can.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they didn't come back out at the half with that still, we're going to keep running the score up type of mentality. Yes, we had some great defensive adjustments. We played not necessarily lights out defense in the next half, but worlds of difference, clearly.
There's a lot of interesting defensive play calling in the first half, too. We were losing a lot of yards to really short passes, and we were playing off-zone coverage where the guy would just be open for the first 7 yards of his route, and then we would go get him. And it was we're giving players that are really good space to make something happen, and we're consistently doing it, and they're scoring touchdowns, and they're still scoring touchdowns, and we're doing it again, and they're scoring more touchdowns. That was weird, seeing that consistent. And there was no shift. There was never a shift of okay, maybe we should do something a little different here. It seemed like we were afraid to really press onto them.
Well, see, I think we were afraid of pressing onto them because we were saying, we'll give you 4 to 7 yards, and instead of you having a deep ball that we can't recover from. And so we stayed off, and they killed us with the short yardage of 4 to 7 yards, blah, 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 end zone, touchdown. We came out after the half, and we're on them tighter, so those short passes weren't working, but the deep balls still beat us up, because now we've shifted. And so what we had our defensive scheme as in the first half of the game, that we both flipped. And so, it ended up being what it was. It was just crazy to me that as crazy as a first half as we had, first quarter, but really first half, that we were able to fight back in this game at all. Which, I will say I'm proud of our team for not giving up. I don't think I ever thought we were going to give up by any means, but for us to really bear down and literally take the lead in this game was absurd.
I think there was one aspect, and this is totally just observation. Carson Beck plays so bad in the first half, and it's like beating a dead horse talking about it. In the second half, he comes out and plays really well. And it's so what if you throw another interception? You're already down 28. Just go out and play football. And I feel like in the first half, there's a lot of stress of I have to fix this. I have to help this come back. And to where he was really just not making easy throws.
I can see that.
And the second half seemed like he was playing more free.
Yeah.
And playing just playing football how we usually see him play football. And like I said, he's proven himself to be a good quarterback. He
was theoretically responsible for 4 turnovers, but we just said, there was 2 that are
fumble?
Arguable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
the
my God.
fumble was
the fumble
crazy. That's
insane.
what I was about to come.
I
That's
totally
the whole reason
forgot
I was
about
bringing
the
that
fumble.
up. Yeah, we hadn't talked about that enough.
Jesus.
Yeah. The fumble was absurd. I was okay, throw the ball away. Throw the ball. Technically, you could say 5 because of the safety, but that doesn't really count. But, I was I need everybody to be so serious. First of all, part of me wants to make an argument that should have been a safety because we had a receiver in the area, but like he was pretty far out of reach. So I mean, I get it. But then
I would argue this isn't a game that I can say, wow, the refs are to blame like for Georgia's loss. Like we did not play great.
Yeah, like why is he not throwing the ball away right there? You're already out of the pocket.
But
he's watching video of the fumble, by the way.
But I'm trying to remember where I was going with that. We didn't play great. But the refs didn't call a lot of pass interference and passing disruption type penalties that I think should have been called. I remember watching football the next day on Sunday, watching the NFL, and something got called, and I was like, that was literally nothing compared to some of the stuff we didn't get called for. Like, we didn't call for us in that game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it was the refs, but it was like, there were some brutal pass interferences that were just simply not called.
You feel like on both sides, or more so that
more so
us?
Alabama. I think there were a few that were
more so that impacted us negatively.
Yes, more so impacted us. Do I think there were some that should have been called on us? Yes. I remember blatantly being like joking with my friends watching the game, like, "Oh, that was nothing," and then we watched it back and we were like, "Oh my god."
No, I remember a couple times when I wasn't saying it was, I was like, "Oh my god, that was PI," but don't. Yeah. I was like, nobody saw it. No, what are you talking about?
And I guess it was nice for where they were consistently like letting it happen on both sides, but it really felt like there were a few, like that deep ball we kept throwing down the sideline was to get a pass interference call.
Yeah.
And it was blatant. I remember one, I think Dylan Bell or Aaron Smith, jumps up to get it, and the guy literally is holding to his collar. Yeah. And you can see his jersey pull down as he's holding onto it. Yeah. It's like, that's just so obviously PI.
I remember thinking to myself, I normally am the person who's like, the refs are bad, but it's going both ways. I do think that it was at least 60-40 that the calls were going in their favor that weren't being called. Yeah. But I'm never going to be the one, especially in this game with how we played, to say that it was the refs' fault by any means.
Another thing, so my understanding of the rules, in the last 2 minutes of the game when you get a first down, clock stops. And that's when the clock stops on your first down while they move the chains up, and then when the chains are set, play goes on. For the entire game, my understanding is that if you run out of bounds, the clock stops. 7-minute mark, really high sixes in the fourth quarter. Pretty sure our receiver goes out of bounds and the clock just continues to run.
Now, I don't know if it's the same for NFL and college, but if you go out of bounds, if you don't go out on your own power, or if you go out backwards, it doesn't count.
Okay.
So if he was not facing forward and didn't go out because he...
So my understanding, if I remember correctly, he's kind of running down the sides and does get shoved out. Yeah. But originally watching that, I was like, why is the clock running?
Yeah, no. Yeah. I think that that's the way that the rule works, if I'm not mistaken.
That's stupid.
So it's like you didn't go out on your own power, you know, whatever.
But yeah, I just remember seeing him go out and the clock was still ticking, and I was like, oh, they'll stop it eventually.
Like, hello?
I had like 5 seconds go by, and I was like,
hello?
I think I told Dakota about it Tuesday, and I was like, maybe there's just like some gap where I'm like missing a rule. The other thing is like, football rules are so intense.
I just wish that they were cohesive across both leagues.
Yeah, well, like, now the kick returns are different, and that's a whole
I don't want that.
That's
I don't want that.
Other thing.
I will say, like, one of the things that I think we might have mentioned this before a couple weeks ago or something like that, but one thing I really wish was like a college or a professional rule that I wish applied in college is that you have to be touched down. Like, there's been so many times I feel like recently where we catch a pass, we're wide open, but we trip ourselves up, and it's like if we could just get up and keep running, that would be great. But because it's college, like as soon as you're down, you're down. But that kind of is what it is. I was just laughing a second ago because I'm like, when are we going to talk about Auburn?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. And I think there's so much to say about the game.
Gosh.
I think that's the end of my thing where it's like we don't have, what did I say? We don't have like a really generational guy that at least is like obvious. I'm okay with that. We don't have the ref thing, PIs and out of bounds and me not understanding rules. Yeah. That's fine. Carson Beck throwing to the other team. I got that point across.
I'm screaming. I think he did too. Do you have a closing statement for Georgia versus Alabama before we move to Auburn?
I'm so glad it happened this early in the season. It is so much easier to recover from early than it is late.
See,
we only dropped to 5. If we were in an argument of like, well, this team only lost 1 game and it's like the last game of the season, it's like, well, this team lost this game, we dropped so much more, I fear.
See, I actually am going to have to disagree there because I think we needed a win here so that we can have a little bit of a safety net going into the rest of the season.
I also think we're bad at home. I think Texas will be interesting because
What?
We're better at home.
We're better at home.
We're bad at home.
You said bad at home. I was like, hello.
No, we're better at home, and a lot of our big games this year are away.
Yeah, I mean,
so Ole Miss, they ended up losing to
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Way to go, Kentucky.
Texas really hasn't played anyone.
No, but I'm nervous.
I think they are really good.
Yes.
But I am so interested to see that game because I just don't think they've played teams that are that good. I do think they're really good, and a lot of people are really nervous about that game. But I'm a little worried for other ones. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. Kentucky, I mean, wake up.
I'm surprised that they're not ranked. Let me just say
Kentucky,
that.
yeah.
I mean, they played us. We beat them by 1 point. We were the number 1 team in the country. Okay? They play Ole Miss, who's number 6 or something like that?
Yeah.
And they do beat them.
It's because they lost to South Carolina.
It's
bad.
I mean, yes, but oh my gosh, I would think that they'd at least be 25th at this point. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me and SEC, whatever.
It's because Indiana or something is 25th.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why? Yeah. I would think that Kentucky could beat them. I don't think so.
Anyway. Oh, I think they could too, but it's more fun if Indiana's 25th.
Screaming. Anyways, yeah. So I think that I would have rather had, because I think that our window for mishaps just plummeted. Because it's crazy because people are like, oh, we can be more comfortable because there's the 12-team playoff and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Right?
There's an argument to be made we can get in with 3 losses.
With 3 losses?
Yes.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I think that
it's insane, but
I think
it's
we
possible.
should be scared if we have 2 losses. Which is why I wish that we had this 1 loss further down the season or could have it further down the season where if we mess around and end up losing to Texas, or we mess around and end up losing at Ole Miss again because they're away games and we have so much more dominance at home. That's the main reason why I'm not necessarily concerned about Tennessee, but Tennessee's a good team too. Right?
I don't think they're bad. I think they are good, but we're at home, and I'm not worried about home games this year. I think maybe that comes and bites me.
Knock on wood.
What's the time mark for that?
I don't know.
Comes back and bites me, but the point being. At home we play so much better.
I mean,
so much better. We beat Kentucky 50 to something last year, and then we go there and win by 1 point after we won by 10 the year before, 2 years before.
I don't think that it's necessarily that we play so much better at home. It's just obviously we have the environment.
Yeah.
And that alone changes things. I think that Kentucky is a tough environment to play in, so you can't really count that. But I think that overall, as a whole, we're not that bad on the road. You know what I mean? It's just
Great.
We're playing Alabama and Alabama. That's a different story. We're playing Kentucky and Kentucky. Historically, that's a different story. So it's just I don't know.
We'll see.
I wish that there was a way to see this game replayed as a home game.
Year.
I feel like we have
Tech
one
last year. Yeah. And that's almost home.
Anyways, so I think that the argument for us to be able to make it with 3 losses, I think that's kind of crazy because it's again, everyone's oh, we have so much more pad because it's this 12-team playoff. But the way you have to think about how it is,
I'm saying it's easier.
We have 4 teams that are going to automatically make it in the conference champions. If we have 2 losses, we probably won't be in the SEC championship game, and therefore we won't be able to be a conference champion and get the bye / be one of the top 4 teams. That said, one thing that I wasn't thinking about is the fact that you have the 4 teams that are in the top 4 spots. But then you have the 4 teams that they played where in several cases those teams are also going to make it in. And so the 2 teams that are in the conference championships, you have to think about in a lot of cases they're going to make it.
If we don't play conference championship, do we get that week bye?
No.
Who do we play?
We play whoever's on the opposite end of the bracket who is an 8 through 12 team.
During the SEC championship.
What?
That week of the SEC championship? So when do the
No.
when do the okay, so if we're the 3rd team in the SEC,
yes,
and we still make it into the top 12, is that championship week for us? Conference championship week, just a bye week?
if we're the 3rd team to make it in,
Yes.
just a bye week. You could look at it like that, but there's a month in between the times we're playing the game.
But my thought is the extra week versus playing Alabama that week and then having to play that playing game if we lose to Alabama that week. Going in as a third isn't bad if you still would make it into the top 12.
But again, that's where that's where it gets iffy because you got to think about all the other teams that the conference champions playing. I was originally thinking of it as you have the conference champions are the top 4 teams, and then there's 8 more spots that are open.
Yes.
Really 7 because one's going to go to non-power 5.
Yes.
So 7 more spots are open. But then you have to think about, you pretty much have to count the teams that they're playing against in the championships. So that's 4 more spots that are gone.
Yeah.
So now you're down to 3.
But, in the other conferences, it's, not the SEC. So it's like, what are the odds that the person who's playing in is even in the top 12 and they lose?
That's what I'm saying.
In the top 12 anyway.
So I'm like, yes, that's obviously what you think is going to
so
be the
weird.
case in most cases, but it's like in certain cases that's not how it's going to be. And so it's like those spots that you're thinking are going to be available are not. But then it's also like, yes, to your point, if we are not in the SEC championship game and we're in the top 12 and that game happens the first week of December, and we don't play a game because we're not in the conference championship, it's like, oh my gosh, great. Like, we have an extra week to be off, and we don't have to play Alabama. We have the month or whatever, and then when the championship, when the playoffs start in January, that first week, we will be playing, and everybody else will still be resting.
Have an extra week. It's the same number of games. I don't know. It'll be interesting. And it's also interesting to see how College Football Playoff does the top 12 ranking versus how AP Poll does the top 25 ranking because, the College Football Playoff does some crazy stuff. And we haven't seen them do it with the 12 team. So, anyway, I think
that
it'll be
the
interesting.
reason that it's different because, yes, to your point, it is the same number of games, but like the timing is better for the team that has
3 games versus 4, or is it 2 games versus 3? If you win all of them, it's 4 games, right? Because play-ins, conference champions, then Final Four championship game, right? Because it's Yes. So it's 4 weeks versus 3 weeks of play.
Yes, in a row.
Yes.
And so it's like, do we want to? Yes, it's like we could have to not play anybody crazy in the SEC championship, whether it be Alabama or Texas at this point, because at this rate,
who knows?
They're equal.
And it also depends on like where we are at that point in the season, like what our guys are like in terms of injury status. Like right now, looking at it, it's like I'd rather take the bye week now. But we may get to the end of the season where we have a lot of guys who are healthy, and it's like we would rather that then, and it just is really dependent on circumstances.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather have just 3 games in a row rather than 4 games in a row.
It also depends on what conference champion we play. Because if we play like the Pac-12 conference champion, like sign me up. Sign me up.
Don't say that, because we still have to get through. In theory, but you know what I mean. It's just crazy about all this. Anyways. Auburn.
Auburn's coming up.
God.
I don't have much to say. We're at home. Last year was a little bit of a my game. I think. But again, Georgia away. Interesting.
But again, Auburn's home field advantage. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to be straight up. I think we absolutely destroy Auburn.
Well, you know what happened last time we lost to Alabama? We beat Florida State 6-3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna my score prediction is gonna be our natty score.
Did we lose to Alabama when we beat TCU like by a zillion points? Did we lose to them in the SEC championship? Did we win the SEC championship?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
We played LSU.
Georgia could never.
We played LSU.
Oh, that's
and
why.
Daniels.
Yeah. That's why. Okay. Yes.
It wasn't Alabama.
Yeah, I was like.
We can't beat them at home at their home field. Oh my God! One more point that I have to make about Alabama before we move on. Right. So somebody brought up the whole stat of like we're 1-6 versus them.
Yeah.
We've lost 6 games to Alabama in the last 7 years, and we've lost 6 games total to everyone else in the last 7 years, right? And so somebody brought that up or whatever. And my thing is, we're 1-6 versus them. We've only played them at home 1 time in that entire time. That's what's crazy, right? And I counted it up,
Actual home?
Actual home.
Yeah.
We've only played them in Athens once in the 7 times we've played them, because we played them in the 18 Natty in Atlanta. So I was gonna make the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm making the joke about how we can't beat them in Atlanta or in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So we played them Natty in Alabama. Natty in Alabama. Natty in
Atlanta.
18. Yeah, in Atlanta. We played them in 2020 in Alabama. That was supposed to be a home game, but because of COVID, they switched it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's in Alabama. We played them Saturday in Alabama, and then we played them in 2 SEC championship games in Atlanta, and oh my gosh, the national championship, which is in Indy.
Oh, and yeah, that year. Yeah.
And so then the one other time we played them is at home, so that makes 7. Of our 7 times we've played them, we've only played them once.
What year was that?
2019 question mark? No, not 19. It was 19 because that would have been my freshman year. I don't even remember, but that's the whole point. Like, it's crazy. Like kind of crazy that we've only had home field advantage the one time.
Yeah, real home field advantage. Because once you get into Atlanta, it's like fans start coming out the woodworks from Georgia who are all Alabama fans.
Yeah, don't have.
I don't know. Fun games. But Auburn, yeah, I don't have a ton looking forward to this. I think we're going to absolutely destroy them.
I mean, I would hope so, but you just never know because, I mean, they have a pretty good, like, passing game.
This is what I want to see. I want to see Carson Beck find his footing again.
Yeah.
Have a shutout game. Mm-hmm. I want to see Trevor Etienne average 4.5 yards. Oh my God. I want to see our DBs do a good job at holding on to the receiving core. Yeah. And I would like the quarterback to rush for under 30 yards. Less than 30 yards would be ideal. All of those things, if we check all those boxes, we're performing better than we have been. Because I feel like each of those things are kind of like issues.
Yeah.
And I mean, even in the containing a quarterback, Brock Vandagriff looked like he ran all over us, and he really didn't. So it's like things don't always look as good as they are, or aren't always as good as they look, and aren't always as bad as they look. So it looked that way. So we'll see. Those are my things.
So my like air quotes for if you're watching of like better than we have been playing is because again it's just the one game.
Yeah.
Like yes, Kentucky was rough.
Even Kentucky was rough. Yeah.
It was rough, but like again when you go back, you realize that we didn't. They didn't score a touchdown.
Their kicker did great.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason it was even halfway a game. Yeah. Anyways,
but we should have scored more than 13 points.
That I want. Actually 3 because I forgot that point until you just said that. First of all, I want to run more than Trevor Etienne. I don't understand. I know I just said I was done talking about Alabama, but I'm really making a comparison across the board. Nate Frazier, how many times did he touch the field in the Alabama game? I don't remember him running the ball once. Yeah. Branson Robinson didn't run the ball once.
Branson Robinson had 2 carries for 8 yards.
Okay. I'm like, why are we not?
Nate Frazier did not have any carries.
Nate Frazier, Branson Robinson, Trevor Etienne. We have a solid running back room, and it feels like for 2 weeks now, 3 technically, but between Kentucky and Alabama, all we have done is run Trevor Etienne. And I'm just like, why are we doing that?
Because he's good.
That. I mean, yes, but like,
he's
can
really
we try somebody else, like just to see what happens? Because
and we do when we're winning games.
When we put him in against Kentucky, what happened? He had like 1 carry and he scored.
Yeah. And I mean, we do against other teams, but it's just like we were struggling. And I think that going into the game, they wanted to pass so much. But
so my point is, run more than just Trevor Etienne. That's what I want us to do against Auburn. Number 1.
Nice.
Number 2, I want to see some good tackling. Lord have mercy. Tackling for us, it was like we expected that if we put hands on, they were just going to go to the ground.
Ow.
And it was like, that's not what happened. It was like, unless you put them on the ground, they're not going to go to the ground. I want to see good tackling. Exactly. I want to see good tackling. I want to see us run more than just Trevor Etienne.
I want to see us win. I want to win.
And I want to see a shutout.
I don't think we'll get a shutout.
We haven't had a shutout in a minute. I would love to see it.
I don't know who their kicker is, but if he can hit a 50-yarder, I don't think we'll get a shutout.
I would love to see a shutout. Because that is a big thing for us. So, I don't know.
Score predictions.
I would love that. Score predictions.
I got mine in my head. Their score.
I'm not ready.
Bro, lock in. You're going to laugh at mine.
I'm scared.
I'm debating where I want it to be.
All right, I think I have theirs.
Okay. Theirs on 3.
No, I gotta
Theirs
get
on
ours
3, come on.
first, though. I gotta
Come
get
on.
ours first. I
Come
gotta
on,
get
we're
ours
all
first. No.
Quit doing math.
No. Okay, I got ours too. Okay, theirs on 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 13.
3.
What?
Actually, 6. I saw your score prediction because I was in the docs.
You're
You
annoying.
told me not to look. So
You
I had,
know not to look.
I was there. I was just there. That's where my computer was.
Anyways, well, you know
6
mine
is actually what I
for
thought.
them.
6.
Okay. Ours on 3. 1, 2, 3, 31.
I was between 45 and 38. I think I'll go 38.
45 to 38. So
What?
my score prediction is 13 to 31, and his score prediction is 6 to 45 to 38.
Or 38 to 45. Yeah.
Okay, so 38's your final answer.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rock 38.
6 to 38. Cute. Mine is, I just think it'd be cute if our scores their score backwards and we're winning. Let me note that. Let's not get crazy. 13 31.
Okay.
Our score prediction last week was the same. Let's not do that again. That didn't go well for us.
It's because we told people we give them a tiny helmet. Our shit.
Oh my gosh. Anyways,
That was bad.
this was fun.
I'm mentally drained.
We had some
I was
disagreements, but we had some agreements. You had some good points. I feel like I had some good points.
Donnie, it's okay for you to be wrong.
Oh Lord, here we go. Anyways, are you good?
I am so good.
I'm good if you're good.
I'm good.
Well, this has been Dooley's Dog Pod. I'm Donnie Trailer.
I'm no bice.
And remember to take everything that we say with a grain of salt because we don't know what we're talking about.
We are not educated.
Not in this. Anywho, we will talk to you on it. Hey, this is the first time we've ever done a podcast after a loss. Is that not crazy?
If you don't count the first, like, immediately after, yeah. Because
What do you
we
mean
came
immediately
back for this season, but, like, yeah.
Well, yes, but
Yeah.
like immediately the next week because our running joke was we're piecing out.
I mean, we kind of did peace out because we were supposed to post something today, and I was like, I meant to post a
Yes.
teaser of, like, oh, we're coming back. No, I
we
forgot.
had stuff going on, so it's
tired.
fine. Yeah. That's that. Talk to y'all next week. Yeah.